This is 5 Mike.
Of course, sales were both bragging rights and the mark of a business acumen. But there were other achievements and accolades that become equally, if not more important. Eric B. and I were among a handful of artists who received the coveted 5 Mike album review in the Source magazine, which in those days was the highest honor a rapper could receive. To some, more sought after and career defining than a Grammy.
What you looking for, 5 mics?
In 1988, hip-hop was introduced to
5 mics.
We get a mic check, me and Mike S.
How many mics do we rip on the deli?
Last Breath Entertainment and the Great American Hip Hop Debate Podcast,
Present
5 mics.
where classic albums get dissected, re-reviewed, and re-rated.
The year is 1990. The movers and shakers had taken over the city streets, and New York's crack epidemic has all but hit its climax. Then Mayor David Dinkins had his hands full with epic crime numbers. There were over 2,000 murders in NYC in that year alone. In music news, MC Hammer was all over the charts. Then you had groups like Salt and Pepper, Tribe, and Digital Underground, along with solo acts like Lord Finesse, LL, and Ice Cube, all making noise in their own way. Step in Eric B. and Rakim, with their powerful mix of funk samples and intelligent lyricism. They had already taken the world by storm with their first 2 albums, and were looking to three-peat with this next one titled, Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em.
Welcome to 5 Mics. So, 1990, hip-hop was going through a change in the sense that we were attempting to leave the commercial success of MC Hammer.
Yeah, trying to.
Or we were attempting to counterbalance the commercial success of MC Hammer, which was like pop hip-hop.
Right.
Salt and Pepper had dropped an album earlier that year. Digital Underground also had dropped an album earlier that year. A Tribe Called Quest had dropped an album a few months before Eric B. and Rakim, as did Public Enemy. So I think this is when we start to see that New York is starting to try to bring a different sound. Different sounds are coming out. Tribe sound, Public Enemy sound, different forms of production, hard-hitting street music,
Different
but also...
messages.
Yeah, exactly. Ice Cube was dropping his first.
And second, all within the same year.
Poor Righteous Teachers had dropped.
Yup.
And then hit June, and Eric B. and Rakim dropped their third album, which surprised me. I thought this was their second album.
Really?
But in doing research, turns out to be their third album. Now, in that age of 1990, artists weren't exactly expected to live up to a third album.
Yeah. The life expectancy for rappers wasn't that long.
Yeah, hip-hop was still burgeoning, and careers in hip-hop weren't really a thing yet.
Yeah, exactly.
This album started with Paul C. as the head producer.
Yeah.
Paul C. Was unfortunately murdered in the year of 1989.
In his own house, man. It's terrible.
His protege, who would go on to become a hip-hop legend in his own right, Large Professor,
That's right.
took over the production duties to complete the album. Again, I was confused because I thought Eric B did the production.
Nah, Rakim.
As
Both of
did I.
them. Both of them did. But Rakim, like for the first 2 albums, he handled a lot of the production. You know, obviously Eric B helped.
Right, and then they brought in Paul C, and then
Paul
they brought
C.
in Large Pro to I guess assist them with producing what would become this classic album. Now, when this album dropped, it was deemed a 5 mic classic,
Yeah.
and we're here today to re-review and re-rate the album and see if the 5 mic rating holds up now, some 30 plus years later. Or 30 years later, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, do y'all remember? I was a kid when this came out.
Yeah.
I don't recall it existing
Until later.
until later.
I was 13 when it came out. So, I mean, obviously, the singles were Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em, In the Ghetto, and Mahogany. I heard both In the Ghetto and Mahogany. I remember hearing as a kid.
How about you, Mook? Do you remember this album releasing when you were a kid?
Not exactly. I remember the singles off the album, but I don't. If I knew about the singles even back then, you know, Eric B and Rakim were like, you know, gods at the time, and a lot of their music will ring bells, but possibly not the cuts off this album, you know.
See, I agree, because I feel like I knew Rakim existed. I knew Eric B and Rakim from Paid in Full. I guess maybe I just wasn't in the loop enough to know that when this album came out, because I don't think the singles on this album surpassed the previous singles.
Yeah. No.
I could be mistaken, but I don't believe they did. To get into the album, I listened to the album multiple times I partnered it with the Rakim book
Okay.
that
Which
came
was
out.
dope.
And I do believe the book has the same title, Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em. So in doing my research, I was listening to the book and listening to the album, and I think that helped me get a better understanding of the album. So I just want to get into the album really quick. The album starts with Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em. The title track, I'm assuming lead single.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is boom bap 90s, like textbook vintage.
Like, yeah. Might be even like 80s. You know what I'm saying? Because it got that sound to it. Like it's they were layering samples.
Yes, and there comes a point in the album where you can hear that the samples are layered, and I don't think the technology for mixing was where it should have been, or it just wasn't handled properly. And you can, there's a later song that I'm going to touch on where the sample, it just seems mixed improperly. It just seems a little out of place with the track.
Well, it's
Go ahead,
older,
Luke.
it's dated. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
It's
I think the technology limited the sound quality a
Well,
little bit.
if you remember in the book, he even says that a lot of the tracks weren't mixed. You know what I'm saying? That sometimes a lot of the tracks they would just leave them raw because of the way they sounded, and they wanted that sound.
You see, that's
You know
good
what I'm
to know.
saying?
That's good information.
Yeah.
It does have a raw sound. Like I said, it has that gritty 90s New York boom bap sound. The beat itself is simple. And I mean, Rakim is just nonstop lyrics. The song doesn't have a hook. It's just 3 bars of Rakim kind of just getting his shit off to start the album, you know?
Yeah, 3 verses, yeah.
To welcome people in. Yeah, and the 3 verses, I actually wrote that down because that doesn't
Exist anymore.
yeah, that's not a thing that happens anymore. These 4.5, 5-minute tracks, these 3-verse tracks, they, because of streaming, they no longer really exist. And to go back and hear that, it's a little tricky because our ears are now conditioned for shorter songs, but it takes us back to a time. Wow, this song actually had 4 verses.
Yeah.
But it takes us back to a time when a song consisted of 3 16-bar verses.
Yeah.
you will wait for that next verse.
Oh,
you would
and
wait for it so that you can rap along with it.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And you were right last night about alliteration. He does I push the power that's punished and prepare to be a prisoner.
Yes.
That is an alliteration.
That is an alliteration.
Yeah, you were
So that's the second verse of Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em, where Rakim comes in with, I'm pushing power that's punishing, prepare to be a prisoner.
Yeah.
Now, Rakim, it goes without saying that he's like,
Master wordsmith.
yeah, lyrically the god. So this was just another, or this was just representation of his growing talent and mastery of the form of just hip hop, you know?
Yeah, it was his latest display of look what I can do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And y'all can't.
At a time where hip hop was more competitive and to be the best MC was, you know, the goal, and that's what everybody had in mind.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, that's where he exerted his lyrical dominance on this song and shit.
And I think back then the only person that was really like head to head competing might have been the person that is rumored he had beef with all along, which was Big Daddy Kane.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Another
Cool G Rap.
Another monster. Yeah, and Cool G Rap.
Yeah,
Word.
Cool
Cool
G
G
Rap.
Rap was another monster.
They were
But it felt like he was evolving on this album for some reason.
His content
Rakim, he was
definitely
lyric,
evolved.
You know?
He got deeper. Like he just got way deeper on this album than any other album. Like on the first two albums, there was a lot of tracks that were even though lyrically driven, they were still party focused, and it was more so party and braggadocio on this. But on this, it's just there's a song where he talks about taking you out into the universe. You know what I'm saying?
his content had matured, and his technical ability had improved.
Had matured with it.
Right.
Had matured with his ability and shit, with his content, I should say.
Right, and I think a lot of the times when we get to talking about these 5 mic albums, we're going to realize that it's a combination of a lot of factors hitting at the right time.
Yes.
So in this case, it was, you know, Rakim growing into a man, into the god, giving lessons, dropping jewels, mature content, along with him mastering, like I said, the rhyme, the tempo, the cadence, the syllables of what he's saying, the alliterations, playing with words, and then the production, you know, to that matched it.
Yeah, that was the thing too. Like, and he was also able to spit at a tempo that a lot of rappers couldn't do.
Yeah, so get into track 2, which is called No Omega. One thing I wrote down was James Brown drums.
Yeah, they were sampled on there.
And yeah, there's a lot of James Brown drums on the album. And I think that combined with what we were just saying about Rakim and his lyrical maturation, he was really fucking rapping to these drums. If you listen to the drums, his cadence is almost mimicking or matching the drums.
Word. Yeah, he was hitting
same
on
fast, slow, same pattern of the drums themselves.
He was basically using his voice as another instrument.
Correct, which is something I appreciated. Something I didn't like. This is the second song with no real hook. And I get that Eric B was doing scratches as hooks on most of these songs.
But that was the par for the course back then. Back then, the hooks were scratches and shit.
Right. But that today it gives it that almost outdated sound, where maybe someone who was doing something similar, like say Gangstar, theirs doesn't sound as outdated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because Preem was able to do so. He was able to do basically what they were doing, but advance it where he was able to make hooks out of other songs.
Exactly. So this is primitive.
DJing basically.
Primitive like hook scratches.
Yeah.
And I just think I'm sure at the time, you know, it was
appreciated more.
Almost probably groundbreaking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For this album to have accumulated so many accolades,
right?
It goes to show that the production was probably, you know, something they hadn't truly heard, and the lyrics obviously were something they hadn't truly heard. But just the lack of hooks in re-reviewing the album, I think it kind of drags and dates the album a little for me, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They predate Gangstar by a few years, wherein what the scratching on a Gangstar album sounds more tight is possibly because of the technology. And even getting into like the James Brown samples, like you said, the first track also got a James Brown sample. They sampled the Big Payback, but it sounds like he recreated the sample. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just taking it right off the record.
Yeah, I think
you can tell another thing. Yeah.
Again, that was all Paul C and Large Professor.
For being a 10-song album, I would say that probably 80% of it is based on James Brown samples and or drums.
Yeah, that would be a fair assessment.
Then we get into track 3, which is probably one of the most classic hip hop songs.
Yeah,
One of the most famous hip hop songs.
and it's got one of the most famous lines in hip hop.
Yes. And that is called In the Ghetto. Now on this track, Rakim actually slows his flow down.
Yes. Change of pace, definitely.
Yeah, and I think it makes it like we need to hear what he's saying on this track. Like,
Yeah, right.
what he's saying is
So
really
slow it down.
important. Yeah,
Yeah.
so he slowed it down so that we could actually hear the message that he's delivering about life in the ghetto, which is where hip hop was birthed, and and that's where we all come from, And he actually referenced, I actually wrote down bars where that's pretty much exactly what he says. So Rakim says, "I come correct and I won't look back, because it ain't where you from, it's where you at."
Yep.
Was that the bar you were referring to?
Yeah, one of the most famous lines.
Oh, look, you see, I didn't even know that was a famous bar, but when he
it ain't
when
where
he
you from,
said
it's
it,
where you at.
yeah.
Yeah,
And then he has another bar where he says, "No more props, I want property." So that goes to show that he was thinking beyond the accolades of hip hop, and thinking more into the future, more into the legacy and establishing wealth and stuff. And this is 1990. I don't think there was a lot of rappers, dropping those kind of bars and those kind of jewels to the people.
Yeah, it was different. Yeah, he was on some other shit.
At this point, this was like my favorite track so far on the album.
Yeah,
but something later on would knock that out of the box.
I don't recall In the Ghetto like that. I'm not sure if the cut that I heard was different and then there's like a remix to it or something like that. But at first I didn't like it. I don't know. I didn't click. I didn't know they were saying In the Ghetto in the sample. And after hearing it a few times, I was like, oh no, I get what they're doing, and I could understand, and I did start liking it, But to tell you the truth, I don't even remember the track from back in the day.
Do you think
you don't remember the video?
I don't know. I'm not sure, man. I got to go back and like watch the video, but like I said, I heard two different versions, and at first I didn't like it, but then I went back and I was like, oh no, this shit is fire.
Do you think what the sample clarity that you were having trouble distinguishing, do you think that was more a production error or a technological error of the times?
That's a good question. It could be a little bit of both. You know what I'm saying? Because
I think so.
Again, Eric B is very he was being very innovative. So there might have been things that he did that at the time were like, oh, and then now you listen to it, and producers have done it over so many times and have advanced that technology that you're like, nah, that's not it. It's grown light years since. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think that's another issue with albums that we're gonna bump into as we go down this road of re-reviewing classic 5 mic albums, is that we're gonna see that the idea and the creativity was there, but sometimes the technology didn't allow them to do what they needed to do, and that's gonna kind of date the sound of the albums. And obviously it's gonna be up to the individual to decide if that's gonna affect their rating today. Then we get to track 4, which is a track called Step Back, and I thought this was probably one of the doper or dopest beats on the album.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. Something about it.
Me too.
It was slapping.
Yeah, it did slap.
To quote the
youth.
the youth.
The youth.
Rakim had a really smooth flow on this track, which I liked to balance with the beat.
Yeah.
I thought the horn sample that they used, I thought it was really dope.
Yeah.
One of my favorite bars from the song was "My cipher's complete when I build with people I meet."
Yeah.
My cipher, he's going into his 5% teachings and knowledge, and just completing it with the people that he meets. We are a social creature. I don't know. I just thought it was dope the way he said it, the way it sounded, the message that he's delivering.
Shouts to the Skull Snaps for the sample.
And
the Black Heat for the samples. Bob James, of course. The Mardi Gras. That's in the beat. That's why it slaps so hard. The Bob James sample.
Oh, okay. Another song without a hook.
Yeah.
Scratching again. At
yeah, and it just a step back. Awesome juice.
Not
shit.
that I don't like it. You know what I mean?
The what?
Mook, what was the question?
No, go ahead, Burns.
No, I was just saying, not that I don't like it, because again, I thought this was a really dope track. I like the beat, I like the flow, but the no hook thing, I don't know, it was kind of getting to me.
And Large Professor, I figured that. And Large Professor also sampled Eric B and Rakim. He sampled Microphone Fiend on this song. You know what I'm saying? So your lack of hooks really got to you, huh?
Yeah. I guess, I don't know, I guess because I'm a product of later music and listening to different genres where hook missing is almost unheard of. I don't know. I know early hip hop didn't always have a hook, but I was just kind of wishing or looking for a hook.
Yeah.
Then we go into 5, which is like an Eric B solo. There's no lyrics on this.
Yeah.
It's just dope scratching, obviously this dates the album.
Yeah, big time. Because this was a mandatory cut on hip-hop albums where the DJ had to have one track where it was just him and the track and him scratching on it.
Right. And back then, the scratching skills weren't
what they are today.
They are today. You know what I'm saying? They sound almost amateurish, and that sucks, man. Because I know at the time people was hearing that and they fucking brains were probably leaking out the side of their ear.
Yeah.
And it was their mind was blown by these scratching skills that he was displaying. And that is the root, that is the foundation for hip hop, and the scratches that do exist today are derivative from that.
Yeah.
But to go back and hear it now,
it's hard to imagine like this is where they came from. What the
Yeah, it's tough.
It's like watching it's like seeing a dinosaur again.
Yeah. I mean, yes. But although I'd be mad more excited if I saw a dinosaur.
Nah, you know what I mean though.
So unfortunately, I think this song really brought the album kind of down and stuff. I think this was a big negative on the album, grading it today. And it's grading it in 2020. I know in 1990 it was probably, like you said, a mandatory, and people probably fucked with it and stuff. I just think
plus today, it was good for like if you want to freestyle over it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That true indeed. True. Then we get to number 6. Go ahead. Before we get to number 6, go ahead.
Go ahead, move.
I was gonna say one thing that I thought about it was that at first I was like, this is pretty creative that they would do a DJ cut, because I totally forgot about the DJ cut on the album, and then I went back and I listened to their other 2 albums, Follow the Leader and Paid in Full. And Eric B did the same thing. So I'm like, oh man, he's not doing nothing original then, unless the rhythm hit him. At first I thought it was cool because I thought he was being original, but then I'm like, damn, he did the same thing on the other 2 albums.
Yeah.
But even still, when I go back and I listen to it on this one, this is by far one of the hottest ones. Because you can hear the sample, God dang, that DJ made my day. And it's like, he throws on these dope ass little samples in there that make you want to kind of like get up and dance. And I'm pretty sure that that's why he threw it in there. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes when they're doing a party, back in the day, they were doing a party back in the day, they would have stuff in between performances. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why it went on for so long as well. You know?
Yeah, that shit was.
It
That's
just,
what. That was my
in
thing.
party mode. Yeah.
That was my thing. That it was long as fuck. Pause.
But definitely, it should be the best or one of the better ones if he's doing it on consecutive albums, because that would mean he's continuing to improve his skills.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure he
But I was
continued
feeling
to
it.
afterwards, you know.
Yeah.
Then we get to Run for Cover. Did anyone think the bass line sounded mad familiar?
Yeah.
And did you think it sounded like Know the Ledge?
Yeah. It does a little bit.
See, I think the next track sounds like Know the Ledge.
Yeah, you're talking about Untouchables.
Um,
Untouchables sounds a lot like Know the Ledge.
Is it? Did I get
Yeah.
my notes?
Sounds a lot like Know the Ledge. Yeah, like Knowledge.
Yeah, that
maybe.
shit. Yeah, that's Untouchables. That's one of my favorite tracks. He kills that shit
Pretty
because
hard, yeah.
he's got to spit that rapid flow, and he fucking bodies that shit.
And that's where he says this is poetry in motion.
Yeah, he kills that shit. He fucking bodies that. Yo.
And that's Untouchables, track 7. All right, in this song then, Untouchables, he had a bar where he says, "Why sell a capsule of crack? I don't have to.
Yeah.
I rhyme and sign $1 million contracts too." I thought that was just dope for the time. You got to remember this is like crack era.
Yeah.
And Rakim and Eric B, for as much as they're hip hop legends, you know, they were in the streets during their first album for sure, possibly their second album and stuff. Connected with some big time street movers and shakers. So I guess this bar, or I believe this bar to be further example of the maturation of Rakim and the messages that he's trying to deliver to the fan base and to the people.
Yeah. Nah, he kills some shit on this.
And I definitely appreciate that, you know. Again, this takes us back to when hip hop was giving us lessons and giving us jewels and raising a lot of kids who maybe didn't have parents or adults around to give them these life lessons without them having to experience it.
Yeah.
Nah, this is a crazy track though. This is poetry in motion. Try to stay close.
Then we get to another big track, one of the more famous Rakim tracks,
Mahogany.
It's got the classic drum pattern that's been used 1,000 times. From Biggie's Story to Tell done used it, Akinelli done used it. But I love what Rakim does with it.
Yeah.
This is
The Al Green sample.
This is Rakim's love song.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
This is his way of expressing love with his monotone self.
Yeah, and this is I wrote down this was a perfect example of the early hip hop sampling that we were speaking about earlier, where it just sounds like it's mixed a little off. So there's one sample in particular that when it comes in, it's kind of just like, I don't know, it just doesn't fit to me.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, not that it's off like time wise, just that the way they bring it in and out
like,
sound wise,
yeah.
it doesn't sound. It sounds raw. Going back to what BS has said earlier about them probably not mixing it to try to keep that authentic raw sound.
Yeah.
I think that's really on display with the use of the samples in this song. One of my favorite bars that he dropped in this song. She asked how come I don't smile. I said everything is fine, but I'm in a New York state of mind.
That's a sample for the song New York State of Mind in the song.
Yeah, that's Rakim dropping Rakim bars
Word.
that would live on for 30 years and be sampled by other artists.
Word.
Definitely one of the most influential rappers.
Yeah.
No-
I think he really influenced Nas with this album because, like you mentioned, I had that written down when he mentions New York State of Mind on Mahogany. You mentioned he says, my cipher complete. And you know Nas says that spit the phlegm on the street, wipe the phlegm off the Sims, make my cipher complete.
Yeah, but they
shit.
sampled his voice when he says New York State of Mind. That's in the actual
No,
song.
yeah, but what I'm saying is he was heavily influenced by this album in creating Illmatic. You know what I'm saying? Because he uses both those elements. And then there's another flow. I think it's on Keep 'Em Eager to Listen that he's like, it ain't hard to tell.
Yeah.
So
I heard that as well. Yeah, definitely. I think
really
Nas has been public with his credit to Rakim. And I recall Nas being called a young version of Rakim when he was first coming in the game.
Word.
But that just that goes back and reaffirms the legend and the lyrical. I hate to say it again, but the lyrical god that was Rakim. He was something that hadn't been heard before.
Yeah, he was doing shit that wasn't being done.
Yeah, and this album in particular, for what it lacks production wise,
more than makes up for it lyrically.
Exactly. Then we get into number 9, Keep 'Em Eager to Listen. I love how the song starts.
Yeah.
How it comes in, I really love it. But the song itself, there's nothing spectacular about it. Even I want to say there wasn't even really bars that stood out to me.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like this might have been the first filler song.
Yeah, you think so? Besides the DJ shit?
Yeah, I don't even consider the DJ shit a filler song because, like you said, back then that was just a regular song that would be included on the album, so you expected it. So I don't consider it filler. But this one, due to its just lack of standing out or I don't know, it wasn't special. It wasn't memorable. It wasn't replayable.
And it was fucking 4 verses long.
So yeah, it was long, and I think this would be considered to me my first skip. If I were to go back and replay the album.
Right. Okay.
Now, the fact that it well, no, I guess I'll go into that later. So after that, we get into the last song of the track, although my version of the album considered like an extended version, contained an extended version of Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em, the first song. But on the normal album, the last song is called Set 'Em Straight. Yeah. Again, James Brown drums, Rakim riding them, perfectly paused. And again, no hook.
Bobby Bird.
Bobby Bird?
Yeah.
What is Bobby Bird? Oh, the sample? Oh, well, it sounds like.
Yeah. And African music machine.
James Brown.
Mr. Brown.
But I did like the album. I did like this song, Set 'Em Straight. I thought it was a good song to end the album with. I enjoyed the production on it. The no hook thing messed with me again.
But he was spitting some shit though.
But overall, lyrically, a lyrically superior album. Rakim, and Rakim is one of those artists, one of those legends that I believe has received his flowers while still here with us. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean he doesn't deserve more. Yeah, definitely, flowers and props to him, flowers and props to the legend Eric B. The combination of the two is something, obviously that's hip hop history. Rakim is in the lore, in the halls of hip hop lyrical legends. Large Professor ended up to become a legend in his own right, producer, rapper. Yeah,
working with Nas.
This album, birthed a lot of things.
It was a precursor to all of it.
Yeah, and like Mook said, a precursor to Nas, a heavy influencer to Nas. So this album, although it's the third album in their catalog, it serves as kind of like the genesis to what hip hop was going to evolve and morph into. You know what I mean? Yeah. Again, due to the fact of timing and what was going on in hip hop at the time, where the reigning king was MC Hammer.
Yeah.
no knock to MC Hammer. I was a fan, and you know I probably had the Hammer pants, but he wasn't the representation of hip hop that we needed or were looking for at the time.
Yeah.
And Rakim came in and dropped a megaton bomb on the game and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It was like I said, it was definitely another example of lyrical progression
Yeah.
with the first album. Then the second album, I thought was, in my opinion, my favorite. You know what I'm saying? And then this third one.
Oh, that was actually a question I wanted to present to you guys. Is this your favorite Rakim album?
Mine is, like I just said, Follow the Leader was my favorite.
Which is the second album?
Yes.
And Mook?
I think my favorite Eric B. and Rakim album is probably which one's the one that got Know the Ledge? Knowledge.
Don't Sweat the Technique.
That's not Don't Sweat the Technique, right?
Yeah, it is.
And that's the next album?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After this one.
That, it may be that one, but I went back and listened to Paid in Full, and I really, really fuck with Paid in Full, man. I think that one deserved 5 mics as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Paid in Full is also my favorite
Yeah.
from the
Okay.
Rakim catalog, and that was the debut album.
Right.
And I also think that album maybe deserved a little bit of a higher rating than this album.
Well, yeah.
So let's get into re-rating the album.
Yeah.
Before that, I just want to know, did y'all have any favorite tracks on the album?
Untouchables is one of my favorites.
Untouchables for you, Mook?
Yeah.
For me, it's Mahogany, obviously, and I like Step Back.
Yeah, for me, I think it was definitely Step Back.
Yeah, Step Back.
Yeah, I just think it's a hard song, you know? I just think it's a dope New York, Rakim, hip-hop, gritty fucking song.
No doubt.
Let's get into re-ratings. And does anyone want to go first? All right, so I'll just go ahead and go first. When it comes to 5 mic albums, the way I view them is very harshly. To be bestowed the 5 mic crown, to me, means that you have produced a perfect album that will remain perfect throughout time. It shouldn't fall to the curse of sounding outdated. And it also shouldn't contain any skips. There's some people that'll tell you a 5 mic album can contain 1 to 3 skips, and that's cool, you know, that's their opinion.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, when I rate albums, I think a skip automatically drops it from a 5 mic for being a candidate for 5 mics.
Yeah, exactly. It's perfect.
So with this album, Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em, it received 5 mics in 1990. In 2020, I'm gonna have to drop that rating. We don't do half mics, so I'm gonna give it 4 mics.
Yeah.
The reasons being, again, the lack of hooks. To me, I don't know. I guess I needed the hooks, or at least some hooks.
Yeah.
The scratch hooks that were there, I think they could have been a little better. But again, they were good for the time.
Cutting edge.
It had a skip to me, in my opinion, which would be keep them eager to listen, which is ironic because it did not keep me eager to listen. Rakim is a legend. Eric B is a legend. This is a legendary album. But in rating it for 2020, I'm going to give it 4 mics.
Feel you.
So go ahead, BS, and give me a rating on this album.
I remember when when I heard pieces of this album when it came out when I was younger, when I was a kid, and the one song that obviously stuck out was "In the Ghetto" and shit. I remember the video and everything, and I thought it was dope as fuck. I would later on, actually listen to it in its entirety and shit, and actually be able to understand what he was saying and shit. And I thought it was complex and shit, but even then, I still thought, only being maybe a few years removed, that it did sound kind of dated and shit. It was something lacking that other artists were already doing. by the time I actually went back and listened to the whole thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and the production, like I said, at the time, yes, it was. I like most of the production. There was a couple. I probably skip a couple tracks, you know, here and there, like the DJ shit I'll skip, and probably like the last track I'll skip. You know what I mean? So, but I would have to drop it down to a 4 as well. Because the lyrical mastery is still there. Like, he's elevating lyrically, but I don't think the production was keeping up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I'd have to drop down to a 4.
4 mics from VS. All right, Mook, what you got?
Mookie Love, the Candyman.
All right. So let me hit the kids with some treats.
See? That's all it takes. The alley-oop, that's right there.
Originally, I listened to it, and I was like, what the fuck am I listening to? Like, this is not Eric B. and Rakim. And it's like, I don't know if it was like, you know, sometimes artists have albums that get stuck in between two dope projects. Remember we talked about this, and I was like, the second album doesn't normally make you or break you, because you could come out of it on the third. You know what I'm saying? Come out of like that sophomore slump.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's normally the third one that'll make or break you. You know, if you come out with 2 whack albums back to back, it's a wrap for you.
Right.
So what I did, and funny because I even talked to VS about this during the week, and I was like, yo, I can't get into the album, so I just went back and listened to like Paid in Full, and he's like, yo, I did the same thing, and even Follow the Leader, you know, we started listening to the other albums, and I found that they were getting ready to expand their sound on this album. They were going from like that whole party vibe, like, I used to be a stick-up kid. I think about the devious things I did to, like, you know the ledge, to those type of sharp, hard-hitting lyrics, you know, and changing the game as well. So, you know, in doing the listening again, I'm like, man, you know, it got better and it got better and it got better, but still, as influential and as dope as the album is, I would also have to drop it. And I was going to go as far as dropping it down to 3 and be super harsh with it, you know, being very critical of it. But I would have to give it 4 albums. You know, I'd be harsh. I'd be doing them a discredit if I dropped it any lower than 4, because it is a dope album. It does have songs that are timeless on it. I just don't feel it has enough. It doesn't have enough songs that are timeless to make it a 5 mic album.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, so we're all in agreement that, and wow, although this is only episode 2, this is the first time that we've had to downgrade an album's rating.
Yeah, buddy.
So
it hurts, though.
Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em is now, according to this podcast, a 4 mic album.
It's an MJ. Tongues out, baby.
Oh man, I think we might face some backlash from the
bring it.
From the OG,
tell me why I'm wrong.
From the OG.
You know,
tell me why I'm wrong.
Originally, what I think happened was that whoever rated it, it was dope at the time, and they thought it was going to be bigger than it actually was. You know
and we were looking for the actual article of the rating so we could see what the who rated it and what their thoughts on it, why exactly they gave it 5 mics, but it doesn't seem to be available online. If any of the listeners can find a link to that, feel free to send it. Yeah. Also to all the listeners, we want to hear your opinions on this album. Does it sound dated to you? Does the lack of hooks mess with you? Do you think there are any songs that are considered skips? And what are your ratings on this album? Feel free to drop those at the GAHHD _podcast page. Make sure you follow that page. And yeah, shout out to Eric B. Shout out to Rakim. Both legends in the game. Shout out to everything they accomplished and everyone they influenced. But yeah, 4 mics. Wow, I'm a little
4 mics.
surprised. I'm a little. That's what we're
Still
here
a good
for.
rating.
That's what that. Yeah. That's the point of this show, and I want to hear from people who disagree. I want to know your thoughts and why you think this does hold up as a 5 mic classic. I especially want to hear from people who were active and around when this album came out. So make sure you hit the socials and drop your comments. Ladies and gentlemen, that is 5 mics, and make sure you tune into our next episode.
Yes, sir. 5 mics.
Peace.
Over and out.
Peace.
To get a mic check, me and Mike F.
How many mics do we rip on the deli?
This is 5 mics.